Lionel, is that you?
There, I think I got it. Okay, it's time for another episode of the Kelly Questions, and tonight I've assembled a crack staff because the scoring is one of the most important parts of it. Whoever's breathing, stop breathing.
It's not me.
So anyways, the scoring is the most important part, so I've assembled a crack staff. With us tonight, we have Tony Cook, who is the editor of Model Railroad News, that beautiful glossy magazine that keeps you up to date about everything happening in the hobby. He's also the creator of HO Collector Quarterly. He's also the creator of the website, or the original website for that, which was the HO Scale Resource. And he's the associate editor of Model Railroad Model Craftsman.
Oh man, he was so close.
I was so close.
Perfect. Oh,
I was so close. And the host of AML Product News.
Yeah.
How do you have any time for anything? How do you have time for sleeping?
It's all train stuff. It's all fun. It's like I do my hobby. I do it all the time.
Okay.
It'd be like saying, you're out on the golf course all the time. How do you get anything done?
Yeah, exactly. And because I'm out golfing. The word I've got to stop saying is exactly. I say that way too much. And also tonight with us to help with the scoring, because that is crucial in these Kelly questions, is Bruce S. Kelly, who is the original superfan number 1 of the AML Network, the creator of the Kelly Questions. It's always so exciting when we have the creator of the Kelly Questions on the show, and the president of every model railroad club within a 102-mile radius of Medford, Oregon.
And now expanding to
with thoughts of expanding to Oconomowoc, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, yeah. Wow.
So if a man appears in your town wearing a orange top hat,
carrying election signs to put on your front lawn,
call the police. Call Joe Desmond. Call the police. Yeah, call right away.
Can I call Jim Lincoln?
No, he's why? You want to get a Chevy or something?
Well, I thought maybe he could sell Bruce a car and then he'd drive away.
Which is a great idea, except you're still in the green room, so.
Ah, damn it.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry, my mouth is still full of shrimp.
Top shelf for the peanut butter.
Yeah, this is all going to go against this. This is all going to go against the score. Have we ever had a contestant start out with a minus score?
I was gonna say I just in my Texas Instruments handheld calculator. Yeah, I've got a red negative LED up right now. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm playing golf today. Lowest score wins.
Yeah, he's still talking.
Man, its score's going down.
Yeah. No, I'm putting a note. Won't stop making noise. So, what was that thing that the predecessor to iPhones and Blackberries, the Palm Pilot or the Palm something? It was made by Texas Instruments, wasn't it? The Palm, it was like some Palm Pilot.
And what did they do? Were they just like, I kind of remember those. They looked like a phone, but I don't think they did anything but maybe kept addresses and some notes.
Yeah, I think it was like notes, and you were going to be Mr. Organized because you had the Palm Pilot or whatever it was called. I'm going to look that somebody. I'm
working on it right now.
Yeah, type that in and see if anything pops up. All right, we're going to do the Kelly questions with Shawn Becher. Becher. Is it Becher? Does it sound like a T?
Yes.
Okay, so it's kind of like, so that's where the silent T in Toronto went. It's in your name.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's like George Bogatuk, who works for Soundtracks. He says the second I is silent, just to draw you offside.
So Lionel, it was the Palm.
Nice.
It was the Palm Pilot.
Or was it?
Yes, it was a. They called it a PDA.
Right. The personal something
yeah.
assistant.
Personal digital assistant.
Assistant. Yep.
And was it made by Texas Instruments? Doesn't matter.
Generation. No, Palm Incorporated.
Oh, okay. What year do they have any years or dates or anything?
They got a date of 97.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I realized today, or the other day, I was talking with my wife, and I didn't get my first cell phone until I was 46. What a fabulous life I've had as far as living through technology. I have the faintest memory of not having a TV at all in our house. And because we would go to my Aunt Margaret's on Saturday night to watch Saturday night fights, to now we're to here, and here I am, we're doing a podcast that's listened worldwide by dozens and dozens of people. At least 40 people. Okay, so tonight we have Shawn Becher from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. And you one of your favorite things is you work at the Oconomowoc Railroad Historical Society. Volunteer.
Oconomowoc Historical Society Museum.
And go ahead.
I was going to ask: are you doing the museum or is it the railroad?
I've actually done a little of both. Most of it deals with the railroad, but I have done a couple of things for the museum in general.
Okay.
It's been kind of a good faith thing of the museums need something done. I know how to do it. I do it for them, and they keep approving our budget to play with trains.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So in order to keep the model railroad going, you help out any way you can.
Exactly.
All right. Which reminds me, when I've read a couple of your posts, I've made absolutely no sense with them. So I apologize.
Oh, that's good.
I apologize now. I apologize.
That's okay.
Not in advance, but in the past tense. So I have no idea when this would be broadcast because we have lots of Kelly questions yet to be broadcast. But I feel confident it will be before the 2020 AML picnic at the Crossline.
Nice.
So you know what? I think we should get right to them because we're almost 10 minutes into this already. And I just realized that all these podcasts that we're doing, after we're dead and gone, they're going to be still out there. They're going to be popping up left and right. Oh, yeah. Well, they're all. I've got them all. I've got them all on tape, and they're all they'll be in the back of the filing cabinet. Someday somebody will be cleaning out the offices. In Busted Knuckle, Kentucky, and they'll go, "What are these?" Long after we're off the air, people will be going, "What are these?" And they'll be pulling out all this tape, these reel-to-reel tapes.
God.
I remembered what it was, Shawn. I remembered what it was.
Okay.
I remembered what it was. So hopefully by now, because we did 2 segments that were broadcast long time ago, and Shawn, I hope we've had you on again since then, but we did 2 half-hour 40-minute segments with Shawn that were broadcast a long time ago. One was a complete failure because they were like speed dating. That was the problem. And I didn't like that at all. But back then, and I hope it's stuck. I hope since then I want to make it. I hope by now it has become part of model railroad lore that my wife refers to Ken Patterson as the dude.
The dude.
Nice.
I think that's like a compliment. I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I love that movie. The movie is The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
That is like unbelievably entertaining. And who doesn't love the dude?
Yeah,
That's true.
Who doesn't love the dude? And so I hope by now Ken Patterson is known throughout the hobby as simply the dude. And we started it. Okay, now we can quit fooling around. Well, we're not fooling around. That was pretty serious business.
So in Kansas City, we go up to him and say, "Hey, dude."
That's what I'm doing.
All right.
That's what I'm doing. We should
Make it
probably,
stick.
yeah, we probably should have a podcast about that
Yeah.
before Kansas City. Make a note on that, Bruce. All right, Kelly questions. Are you ready, Shawn?
Yes.
Do you have your tinfoil hat on?
Yes.
You're suitably situated in the chair. You've been clamped
Yes.
in. All right.
Yes.
Which do you prefer, steam or diesel?
Steam.
Any particular reason?
I was born after the steam era, so all I've really known is diesels, but there's still something very majestic about a steam locomotive. And my first ever train ride was behind a steam locomotive.
Okay, and where would that have taken place?
That would be the now defunct Kettle Moraine Scenic Railway.
And whereabouts would that have been located?
That is, what is it? North Lake, Wisconsin.
Okay, so are you a native Wisconsinite?
I am.
Okay. So are you modeling? You're modeling in steam then?
I am.
Perfect. Okay, what's your favorite prototype railroad?
The Sioux Line.
Oh, okay. Are you modeling the Sioux Line?
No, I'm not.
Of course not.
No, see, my modeling is freelanced. I've kind of built my own line, and in the process of researching the area, discovered another railroad that I didn't even know was ever there because it's been gone for many, many years, and that ended up changing my railroad plan a little bit, but I'm still sticking with my freelance line.
Right.
But the reason that the Sioux Line is my favorite railroad is I was born in Waukesha, and my first memories of seeing trains were Sioux Line shortly after they took over Milwaukee Road.
Okay. And Waukesha is presently the home of?
Calmbeck Publishing.
Exactly. I've spent many a happy hour in Waukesha. Okay, so if you were rail fanning, would you rather photograph the trains or ride on them?
Ride.
Okay. What was your first model train?
My first model train I got for my birthday when I was 12, and it was, I want to say it was the Golden Spike set from Bachman. It was an over and under figure 8 with a Union Pacific Jeep 40.
Right. Okay. And tonight, as a surprise for you, Shawn, we have the creator of the magazine HO Collector Quarterly, who will know all about that train. Tony Cook, come on out.
Hello. The Golden Spike. That's a great, and that was a very well outfitted train set.
Was it?
As I remember, it had some of the Plasticville like buildings, figures, over and under, and UP Jeep 40. That I get dates to. You didn't say what year, but I'm thinking that's late 70s to about 1980 is when it was around, and then was available through the 80s.
Would have been oh boy. Hold on, I have to do math now.
Yeah, we had that problem with Kevin Moore. We had that problem with Kevin Moore, who owned the Berlin sleeping car. He couldn't do math either. He didn't know how old he was either.
That would have been 1991 when I got that set.
Okay,
Still been around. Yeah.
so I'm gonna spitball that you were born in the late 70s.
79.
There you go. What's your favorite model railroad scale?
HO.
True or false? Is N scale dead?
It's just lost in the hobby.
I've heard that before.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, exactly. It's just lost in the hobby.
He's almost out of the negative.
Exactly.
Yeah, almost.
Man.
And there you go. The key word is almost. Yeah, we had some unpleasantness at the beginning. You know that kid in your class that won't shut up.
Yeah, that was me.
I couldn't be in everybody's class, so I had coworkers, and Shawn was one of them. Who is most what's your favorite model railroad?
My favorite model railroad would have to be Chuck Sable's Chicago Northwestern Lines, Wisconsin division.
And if I remember rightly, you told us that was on Model Railroaders video series, Spruce This Layout Up, or whatever it was called.
Rehab My Railroad.
Rehab My Railroad.
Yep. That was the railroad where I learned operations.
And was that is that railroad still going?
Oh yeah.
And how did that? Are they still doing that Rehab My Railroad thing?
They did 2 seasons of it, and I don't think they've done any more. Actually, no, they did 3 seasons of it, and I don't think they've done any more beyond that.
Okay, was there some unpleasantness or?
No, Chuck retired.
Oh, okay. And so they stopped the series because Chuck retired?
To my knowledge, yes.
Did he work there?
Yes.
Oh, well, okay. Well, you're kind of leaving that part of the story out of the... You got to tell the whole story, you're under oath here. You do understand this is a scoring system, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I know he worked there. I don't know in what capacity or for how long.
Okay. So, and now you still operate on it.
Yes.
So was he part of the MR series, Spruce Up My Layout or whatever it was called?
Yes.
Ah, okay. So it's getting more and more interesting. I should have known all this, shouldn't I? But then if I knew everything and I didn't ask questions, it wouldn't be much of a show. It was just I should start a podcast like that though. Everything Lionel knows. Well, that was 10 minutes. That was 10 minutes that we killed. Who is the most influential model railroader for you?
Oh boy. That's a tough question.
Yeah, we only ask tough questions here. This isn't a game. We're not.
It's not easy.
No.
I would probably have to say Chuck Sable.
Again with Chuck Sable. Holy mackerel.
Yep. He's taught me everything I know about operations, and I suddenly find myself being like the operations manager for the railroad at the museum. It's pretty crazy considering I went from operating on his railroad 5 times to actually running full-fledged operation sessions.
Okay, so you're kind of the guy that's looking after getting all the operating sessions going at the museum now.
Yep.
Wow. So you're on the fast track.
Yes.
Okay.
Not to be confused with the fixtures.
Exactly. But we did manage to get a plug-in for Fast Tracks. That's Fast Tracks in Port Dover, Ontario. Also, the company that owns Mount Albert Scale Lumber. And pretty quickly, Tim Warris, who is the owner of Fast Tracks and a lovely, lovely man, I came up with, he bought this teeny tiny lumber, this company that makes teeny tiny lumber. So then I started saying he was a teeny tiny lumber baron. And the first couple of times, the first couple of times he laughed, and after that he stopped laughing.
Oh,
I thought it was great. If you own a company that makes teeny tiny lumber, then you're a teeny tiny lumber baron. Who is your favorite model railroad author? Present company excluded.
present company excluded.
Excluded.
Oh boy.
Yeah. See,
now you went and made this really difficult, and my brain hurts.
There you go.
Sole purpose.
Exactly. It only gets harder and harder.
I would have to say that I have enjoyed the articles written by one Shane the Young Gun Mason.
Wow.
Oh, good.
And what articles has he written? He's written some reviews.
He's done quite a bit for Model Railroad News.
Oh, okay. All right. So there you go. So Shane Mason, you just got a shout out there for your writing skills. There should be a word that uses the word author, Authentarian skills or Authentarian skills or something like that.
Wordsmithing.
Ooh, nice.
Shane Mason gets a shout out for his wordsmithing. Select one of the following as your favorite: bench work, track work, scenery, or electrical.
Scenery.
Okay, and how's that going on the Economowalk Historical Society Railroad Museum place where you hang out?
Well, interestingly enough, I haven't had a whole lot to do with the scenery there. I do more of the fleet management, making sure wheels are clean, coupler heights are right, weights are right, and also the operations stuff. On my personal layout, I've enjoyed doing the scenery and creating and setting the scene that I want.
Okay, and how big is the layout you're currently working on?
It is 5 by 1.5 at the moment.
Wow. So you can, I think a small layout like that gives you a real opportunity to do some really cool detail and stuff.
Yeah, it's, the layout started as the first time that Model Railroad Hobbyist ran their one module contest.
Yes.
It was another one of those shot in the dark of I saw the ad saying, hey, do this and you can win stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have time for that. And then I started designing this first module for my eventual layout. And I realized that if instead of going 1.5 by 4, if I go 1.5 by 5, I can put my plan in the contest. And so over the course of my lunch hour for 2 or 3 weeks, I developed this plan and wrote this article and literally sent it in last minute.
Okay.
And I'm like, it's worth a shot. And I ended up taking third prize that year and was published in the August 2016 issue of MRH. And that was enough to actually get me to start building it.
Cool.
And
Wow.
so it's been a slow process. As we've previously discussed, my work schedule is incredibly busy. And when I'm not working, I'm either trying to hang out with my family or take care of stuff around the house.
Right.
So even though it's been 2 years since that article was published, I'm still working on, and my scenery is probably not even half done.
Right.
But it's still something I'm working on and having fun with when I have time.
And you'll probably add more modules to that eventually?
Yes. I actually, that was one of the things I did just like a month ago, was finally decided on what my final layout plan will be and how each of the modules is shaped and what trackage needs to go where.
Okay, that's cool. And so you must have written some stuff. You must have written a companion article to go with the plan, eh?
Yes.
So you've written for them, you've written for Model Railroad News, so maybe you should be your favorite author. No.
Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
But you're here, so it was present company excluded.
Right.
Let's move on to the next question. If you were starting out in the hobby, you were already in the hobby. It's not you that's starting out in the hobby. If somebody was starting out in the hobby, I don't know why you're laughing, Bert. I don't know why you created this. If I can't read it, it's your fault.
Okay. Too many syllables. Too many syllables.
Yeah, too many syllables. If you could help somebody starting out in the hobby and cost was no object, what would you give them to get started in the hobby?
A DCC starter set.
And any particular company? Do you have a favorite?
No.
Okay. So
I guess it would depend on what scale they wanted to do. If it was N scale, then it would probably be a Kato set. If it was HO scale, then I'm not really sure.
Okay, so does Kato make a DCC?
They have, I believe it's an N-scale Amtrak DCC set.
Oh, okay. So you mean the actual train set?
Train set.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the DCC controller. You actually meant
No,
a train
an
set.
entire set. Yep.
Do they actually make Tony? Do they actually make train sets now that they're DCC ready?
Oh, they make them with a DC. Like Bachmann has DCC sets that come with their easy DCC controller. So yeah, you can in the box buy a set that's DCC and ready to go. Yeah.
Wow, and just
That's how you'd start. Yeah.
wow, that's kind of cool. I think I would have to say I was not completely aware of such a thing. Wow, what would that cost? Any idea?
Those retail for I think around about $400. And with Bachmann items, you can find those discounted pretty well. So yeah, you can get just a basic HO set with like an F unit cars, circle of track. That's in fact even DCC sound with those Bachmann starter sets. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. And does Kato make any kind of a starter set? I think it's Kato, but some people say Kato.
They've got box sets both for HO and N, I think more so in N, that include their Unitrack, and then they do have their Power Pack, but I'm not sure that Kato at this point, no, I don't think has a DCC. Yeah, they have DCC ready, and then they do some DCC and sound installed locomotives, but for their sets, I think it's still pretty standard DC is the setup. Yeah.
You're like a friggin' encyclopedia. Bruce, does he not seem like an encyclopedia to you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He seems to know every product that's ever been produced in model railroading. How do you jam all that stuff into your head?
I have no idea.
He forgets the important stuff like breathing and eating.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
All right, okay. And he drives a Lincoln Continental. And
that increases his brain capacity right there.
I think so. I think anybody that drives a Lincoln Continental, I have a friend in Florida that has a white one, and it's a sweet ride, let me tell you. That's my one thing. I'm hoping when I get to the Kansas City NMRA convention will be long gone by now, and we will have either stopped talking to each other because it was a complete failure.
or we're in prison somewhere.
Yeah, or we're in prison somewhere.
They hauled us up the road to Leavenworth, Kansas.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
We're making license plates.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to at least get one ride in the Continental. That's what I'm hoping for, anyways. That's on my list of to-dos when I get there. You know what? Maybe I can get a ride with you to the baseball game.
There you go.
That would be sweet. Yeah, I would like to go to the Royals game in Tony's Lincoln, MKZ. Right?
Yes. Black MKZ. Yep.
What kind of mileage are you getting with that puppy?
It does very well, like 28, 29
to the gallon.
Mm-hmm.
How many Ks to a liter is that?
No idea. See, that's the biggest joke we ever played on you Canadians.
Yeah, I know.
Was in the 70s. We said, hey, we're all going to go metric.
Yeah.
And then you guys really did.
Yeah, we were so innocent. We went, okay.
And all we did was 2-liter bottles of soda. Yeah, that's as far as we're going.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the bit too. And see, here's our soda. We're doing it in liters. Oh, okay. Let's see. Okay, where do you buy most of your model railroad supplies, Shane, Shawn, Bob, Frank, Steve? Can I call you Steve?
Okay, there we go. Steve. Yes, you can call me Steve.
Becher.
Yeah.
I try to buy most of my stuff at my local hobby shop, which would be Jetco's Hiawatha Hobbies in Pewaukee, Wisconsin.
Jetco?
Yes.
JETCO?
Yes.
Jetco Hiawatha Hobbies.
Yes.
Where's Pewaukee in relationship to Oconomowoc?
Pewaukee is about 20 minutes east of Oconomowoc.
How come?
It's just north of Waukesha.
Okay. How come all the names in Wisconsin either end in E or Ock? Like everything is so hard to pronounce in Wisconsin.
Ask the Indians.
Okay.
It's really kind of cool, though, because, like Missouri, all our names are just kind of really regular type things. So, yeah, whenever I hear all these Wisconsin names, like, oh, it's so exotic.
They're very exotic, yeah. Yeah, I always feel like Rather than go to the Caribbean, just go to Wisconsin.
Go to Wisconsin, yeah.
See, now the running joke here is that when the Indian got to this area, he said, "Oh, can no more walk."
Oh, boy.
He was doing so well.
Yeah, he
know.
was. That was.
Wah, wah, wah.
I've never seen the points to so low.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, you know how they ended up spelling Canada, right? The forefathers were standing around, and one of them goes, "Well, we could start with a C, eh? Then we could have an N, eh? And maybe like a D, eh?"
Oh boy.
Yeah, but see, I'm not being
Brutal.
I'm not being scored, so it really doesn't matter. So what's your favorite train event of the year, model or prototype?
Well, previously it would be Train Fest, but I have a feeling that it will very soon be the AML Picnic.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
But as of right now, you've never been to one, so you really don't know.
Correct.
So for now, it's Train Fest.
Yes.
Okay. And how many times have you been to Train Fest?
Probably at least 10.
And to
Oh,
give
wow,
everybody
nice.
an idea, you live west of Milwaukee, and Milwaukee is about 2 hours north of Chicago. So how far west of Milwaukee are you?
45 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic.
Okay. And how long would it take you to get to Sheridan, Wyoming?
A while.
Okay. What's your? Do you prefer regular beer or light beer?
Regular.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Salty.
Unless I'm not mixing it with whiskey. If I'm not mixing it with whiskey, then Pepsi.
So you gotta. Okay, let me try again. Which do you prefer, Coke or Pepsi?
With or without whiskey.
We're running. Yeah,
Is your
My
mic
God.
on?
I
Lionel, is
know.
your mic on?
Yeah, because I can
my-
feel my lips moving.
My
That's funny
calculator
because
is-
I can see him moving, but I don't hear anything coming out.
Now he's getting smart too.
Yeah. Oh, man. My calculator can't go that low.
yeah. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Not a boy.
There we go.
Third bounce. And he's running back to the wall to get this one. Salty or sweet?
Salty.
Dogs or cats?
Both.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Do you have a dog?
I have a dog and 2 cats.
Do you have, okay, what's your dog? I didn't even ask you if you had 2 cats. I mean, one of these guys that goes off on his own. What's your dog's name?
Tyson.
Dyson?
Tyson.
Tyson. As
Yep.
Tyson.
Yes.
Say hi to Tyson for me. What's your wife's name?
Tanya.
Tanya.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a nice name.
it is.
Apparently, she's been sentenced to a life of misery, but it's a very
Oh.
What is your favorite hot dog condiments?
Uh-oh.
Mustard,
All right.
onions, and relish.
Oh,
Very good. Ooh,
excellent answer. You got one right, anyways.
that's very good, yeah.
Yeah, that's an excellent answer. Have you ever been bungee jumping?
No.
At what age should you stop putting ketchup on your hot dog?
8.
Perfect. If you were a beer can, what size would you be?
40.
40 ounces.
hmm
Uh,
I'm from Wisconsin. You have to go big on the alcohol.
exactly. How many pairs of shoes do you have?
5.
Can you describe them? Like you got sneakers?
I have my pair of workout shoes. I have my pair of lawn mowing shoes. I have my work boots. I have my flip flops. And then I have water shoes.
Do you have a pair of dress shoes?
Oh, yeah. So 6. My bad.
Yeah.
That's how often I actually wear them. I forget that I have them.
There should be some kind of Bruce. Pardon us for a minute, Shawn. We're just going to have a meeting over here. Bruce and Tony, there should be some kind of a marking system. If I've never been in his house and I knew he owned 6 pairs of shoes.
Is one of them a clown's shoes?
Yeah, exactly.
Those would be points had he said
Yeah,
that.
that would
It's
be
like,
points.
wow,
Yeah, that's
that
true.
would be
That's
cool.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been good. What is this one could save him though.
Oh,
What is your favorite Bobby Goldsboro song?
wow.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
There's only one to say. To me, there's only one.
Yeah, except I have no idea who that is.
Buzzing bees.
Buzzing bees.
Wow.
Oh, you're giving him a hint. Oh, I get it. Oh.
Yeah, nope. That one went right over my head and off the fence.
That's the name of the song is Honey,
Mhm.
and it was in 1968. Yes, and it was nominated for a Grammy Award of the Song of the Year in 1968.
It made it to number 1.
Yes.
Oh, well, see, that was 11 years before I was born, so that explains why I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Oh.
Okay, so you don't know. So you don't know any. So you don't know any songs from before 1979.
Unless it was done by, like, the Beatles.
Okay, so you do know songs from before 1979.
Yes.
So that
just
was
not
a,
many.
that was a very weak excuse then.
Yes, thank you.
Well, do yourself the favor and afterwards go and look up "Honey" by Bobby Goldsboro.
Yeah.
And see if you can make it all the way through without a dry eye.
Exactly. See the tree, how big it's grown.
Oh,
But friend, it hasn't been too long. It wasn't big.
Oh, my.
Okay, so let's move right along here. If you were a superhero, what sort of powers would you have?
I would like to be able to stop time.
Well, that's a good answer. Too bad your score's so low now. It doesn't make a difference.
Well, that's okay. I'll just stop time to the point that you can't give out the score.
Yeah, I didn't say you have superpowers. If you had superpowers.
Dang it.
And that's kind of a cool answer. So stop time so you can make adjustments. So what do you think your costume would look like?
A broken clock.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
You know, so it'd be, I imagine them in I think I imagine them in a green onesie. What is it? Latex? Not latex. Yeah, latex.
That's good. That's good.
I believe you meant spandex.
Rather than I believe I meant latex.
That's a hazmat suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, made out. That'd be hard to get in.
Yeah.
That's why he has to stop time because
Yeah, it shows too much.
no, because it's so hard to get into his suit.
He has a broken clock around his neck like Flavor Flav.
Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. It's latex. That's how originally his superpower was going to be to leap tall buildings in a single bound, but then when he tried to get into his latex suit, he had to stop time. Oh my goodness! Well, I'm having fun, anyways. Have you ever had a brush with the law?
Yes.
Attaboy.
Oh.
Can you give us some details?
Let's just say they didn't like how fast I was going.
Attaboy. There you go. So
He's
you
observing the speed limit.
yeah, exactly. He's had chats.
I was observing the speed limit and observing the clock as to what time I needed to be where I was going.
And so you wished you could stop time.
Yes.
There you go. Has your wife ever seen you in your one-piece latex suit?
Oh, no.
No, I haven't quite been able to get it on yet.
Have you ever been on TV?
No.
Who's your best friend?
My wife.
Yeah. Well, at least Tanya.
Yes.
Yeah, the one that's has been sentenced to a life. I can't come. I'm not coming up. See, that's that. I might have to edit that out. That kind of died right there on the on the cutting room floor. But she seems like a very nice young lady.
Yes.
She was the one that encouraged you to send in an email to Tony to see if you could do the review.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and by this point, he's now thinking, I really got to talk to her about that or quit listening to her when she says these things, because now look at the mess I've gotten into with this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And now he's got four more reviews and everything else. So that's pretty cool. That's a kind of a cool twist of fate for you.
Right.
Exactly. What's your favorite zoo animal?
Wolf.
Wolf?
Wolf?
Yeah.
Do they have wolves at the zoo?
They do here.
I think the standard answer is giraffe.
Giraffes are boring.
Yeah, well, yeah. You know what I think they are? I think that's when God created the earth, you wanted to know what a cow would look like with a long neck.
Yes, except a giraffe doesn't say moo, so it's not really a cow.
Yeah, well, he made changes. It's like kit bashing anything. As he started making the neck longer, then he thought he'd make a different noise, and
But giraffes don't make any sound.
Don't they?
No.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Did you guys know that?
I didn't know that. No.
No, I didn't know that either. Bruce, you're a fountain of knowledge. Were you aware of that? Did Bruce leave?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, you're thinking? You're thinking carefully. You're stuck on that latex suit, aren't you?
Oh God, that's an image I can't get out of my head.
Do you prefer baseball or hockey?
Hockey.
If you could choose only one professional sports team to root for, would it be the Kansas City Royals, the Medford Rogues, or the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Go Leafs, go.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, good.
And if you were stranded on a desert island with just one person, would you prefer to be with Bruce, the creator of the Kelly Questions, the president of every model railroad club within 102 miles of Medford, Oregon, and the original AML superfan, or Tony Cook, who is the editor of Model Railroad News, who is just by coincidence happens to be your editor, and the creator of HO Collector Quarterly, and an editor for Model Railroad, an associate editor, oh my goodness, get that right, an associate editor of Railroad Model Craftsman. I keep getting tripped up when I get there. Or Lionel the Evil Overlord.
I'm going to go with Lionel the Evil Overlord because I think we could easily keep each other entertained.
Yeah, I think you've made it. I don't think you should ever exclude your editor. Let me give you a little.
Well, I mean, we can bring him with us.
No, we stranded on a desert island with just one person. You've had a lot of trouble with the multiple choice answers. Take a little tip from somebody who's written extensively for a magazine, and in particular a model railroad magazine. Always choose your editor.
Okay.
You guys are going out. To lunch. Hey, Andy, you want to go out to lunch? And you're and always put yourself in a position where, you can constantly compliment the editor. Hey, that spot on your tie from the mayonnaise looks great.
My tie.
Yeah, exactly. And finally, what is your favorite podcast?
Anything from the AML network.
Okay.
Oh, good.
All right, that was good. I would have just gone with A Modeler's Life, but okay, you like to expand, so okay. All right, now we come to a very critical part of the show where we do scores. I think Tony will let you go first because Bruce created the Kelly question, so he understands the scoring system a little bit better.
Yeah.
I'm still sliding the little balls around on my abacus.
Right.
But I'm just about there. There were a lot of good answers towards the end. I mean, there were some slip ups, I got to say, but I mean, in general, I think it was pretty good.
Okay.
I think I'm coming up with about a 18.5.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, I mean, there was Coke, he picked Coke over Pepsi, and there were a lot of good things there. Yeah, there was a lot to like. Yeah.
Okay. Bruce, would you like to go ahead?
Well, I broke 3 calculators.
Yeah.
It's just I was in the negative numbers. I was way down there. I mean, I had to go do exponentials and stuff, and it was like unbelievable.
Yeah.
X to the minus 350,000. But a couple of good answers brought him back up. I'm going to give him probably a -3.
Okay. Okay. -3. All right. So, and we have an 18 and a -3. So, okay. So he basically annoyed me right out of the box when he came in from the green room. Like I was in a bad mood before we got started.
Well, he picked the Leafs. He picked you for the desert, being on the deserted island. I mean, I think you got to look at that real comeback at the end.
Was I critiquing your score when you were giving it?
Oh, go right ahead. Sorry.
Of course, now I got to be careful. You know what? You're right, because I want to ride in the Lincoln. So you know what? I appreciate your input. So, anyways, he annoyed me right out of the box. Like right away, I was like, "Oh my God, what is the deal with this guy?" And then we went along, and he was pretty solid in his first few answers, and he understood that N scale's just lost in the hobby. But then when we got to Coke or Pepsi, that's when things kind of really started to come unglued. I was recovering. I was at least getting to a point where I could tolerate some of the things that had happened. But then when he couldn't answer Coke or Pepsi, I really started to struggle. Then dogs and cats, he couldn't answer that question either. He did get favorite hot dog condiments correct, which was really important. And
that was very good, yeah.
Yeah.
And the age on ketchup.
Yeah. And the age on ketchup was very good. However,
that to me isn't 8 years old, kind of the survey said, and then Richard Dawson on Family Feud would say, by the way, 8 years old is the number one answer.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But then he didn't. I was the only one that knew how many pairs of shoes he had. So I found that to be kind of odd that he didn't, that I knew and I'd never been in his house. And then he didn't know who Bobby Goldsboro was.
Oh boy, I forgot about that. Oh,
I even gave him a clue.
Yeah, Buzz and Bees, yeah.
Yeah.
I laughed. Then I laughed and she got mad. The first day that she planted it, it was just a twig. Try not to. So then I was really put off by the whole latex onesie.
I don't think that's not his fault. I mean,
it's an image of him in a latex onesie that I can't get out of my head.
But again, he didn't conjure that up. He didn't say, "Oh, by the way, I mean, I don't think that was him." We're gonna have to back the tape up here for an instant replay, but I don't think he's the one that said that.
Yeah. So I see what's happening here because you've selected him to write articles for your magazine. You're trying to convince yourself.
You think I got a bias here?
Well, no, I think you're trying to convince. I think you're trying to convince yourself you haven't made some sort of huge error, and you're.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So, anyways, I've taken a lot of what you said, Tony, into consideration. And by coincidence, you gave him an 18 for a score, and I gave him a -18.
Oh man!
Oh, wow!
What are the chances of that happening?
That's unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah,
man. In the cellar.
Wow. Yeah. So he comes up with a score of you put the two together, and he comes up with -3.
3. Wow.
Oof. Yes.
Which is actually a good score for the current.
Yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Out of 100, that's
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good score. That puts him solidly in the lower half.
Yes. Solidly in the lower half.
I endeavor to be mediocre.
Yeah.
Oh.
And one other thing that went against him is this is one of the longest Kelly questions we've ever done.
Yeah.
So we usually do them 3 at a time, but this will not be combined with 2 others. This might even be a standalone, which will annoy me at the time too.
or a 70-parter.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And maybe we'll put
that would rate some extra points.
Yeah.
That he had an exclusive all to himself.
Yeah,
But all right, we've already said I've got a bias, so I'm just going to step back.
creating work for the network is not a plus.
All right.
Well, Shawn, that was an experience.
Yes, it was.
I hope you have better luck. I understand now why. Like I, you know what, Tony? In fairness to you, I understand. Once we started to explore why his superpower was stopping time, and we realized because he couldn't get into his uniform.
Oh God!
Poor Bruce. Poor Bruce.
The only thing I'm praying is that onesie is a solid color. Okay, well that's it. You know what, Shawn, you've had the gold, you've had the tinfoil helmet on for so long. We're gonna let you keep it.
Oh, sweet.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A parting gift.
Yeah, parting gift.
At this point, I'm not sure I can get it off of my head.
Yeah, that's what we're kind of hoping. And we wish you all the luck in the future with your editor, even though you didn't choose him to go to a desert island with. So we're wishing you good luck when you get your next, when you submit your next article, that it doesn't come back to you in a flame tied to a flaming typewriter.
I have to say, Lionel has never written anything for us at White River, but he has in the past for Kallenbach. And this kind of, boy, you got to be careful. And like a flaming typewriter, my gosh, what is it like up there in Waukesha versus the way we do things at White River? That he has this
Well, we all have our little experiences,
I guess. Wow. Yeah.
Anyway, Shawn, that was great. Oh, Bruce, you know what you got to do, buddy?
Oh, the email.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you want to contact us through the wonders of the email, you can reach us at modelerslife@gmail.com. That's modelers with one L as in railroad, not two L's as in Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly, where the L's are side by side. Side by side L's.
Yeah, one of the L's is probably silent, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the first L is silent. Okay, that's it. So, Bruce, we want you to leave us with some sort of little ditty like you always do.
What about our Facebook page? And you forgot that.
No, it's I gave up
okay.
on that years ago.
Gave up on that? Okay.
No, we have a website. We have a website, modelerslife.com, so go there and enjoy it, and you'll find links to everything you need to find over there. And now, Bruce, leave us with some tidbit of advice, something that we can carry on, we can go forward in life, something that Kevin Marks could post on his Facebook page.
Well, if you're living in Eagle Point, Oregon right now, your place is probably burning down because there's 30 acres of land on fire right now.
So is that supposed to make us feel good?
No, it's supposed to just tidbit. I don't know.
Why do we never get an answer when we're knocking at the door with 1,000 million questions about hate and death and war? 'Cause when we stop and look around us, there is nothing that we need in a world of persecution.
It's another Lincoln Homer. Oh, we forgot to get Ralph on again.